You can practice for hours and play all the right notes, but if you're missing this one technique, your playing will always sound sloppy. Today, I'm going to show you a simple muting technique with this hand that will make your playing sound 10 times cleaner. Now, there are a lot of different ways you can use muting, but today I'm specifically going to be talking about it in the context of playing chords. But at the end, I'll throw in a couple bonus tips on some other ways you can use it. And if you're just starting out, I highly recommend just focus on your chords first. Make sure that you can play those clean before you even try this. All right, in our first example, we're gonna be playing a C chord. And a C chord does not have this low E string in there. So you could simply start from the next string and go down from there, but you might wanna play all 6 strings depending on what you're doing. So let me give you an example, and I'll show you first the way it would sound without muting, and then I'll show you how it cleans up the sound when you do mute it. So this is without muting the strings. And this is what it sounds like if I did mute it.
That's definitely better.
So we'll go over some other chords in just a second, but with the C chord, I'm using the tip of my third finger to just touch the low E string while this C note on the 3rd fret of the A string is still ringing out. Now you might have to move your finger around a little bit to find the right position, but you should press the A string with this part of your finger just not like right on the tip, but right under the tip, so you can use the tip of the finger to touch the low E string. And if that's a little weird, just take these other notes out for now and just try doing this one finger where this note is coming out, but that note is muted. And then once you can do that, then try to add the other notes back in there. You can also think about it like this. Instead of pressing straight on the string, you're pressing it on the top of the string. And you can angle your finger down slightly this way. But you just want to make sure you don't angle it too much that way to where it's muting the string below it. So just be careful of that. Another way you can do it is with your thumb. Bring your thumb over the top of the neck and let it just touch the low E string. Now, when I do that, this whole part of my hand is touching the back of the neck. You also want to make sure that you're not muting this high E string with the bottom of your index finger or with this part of your palm. And another way you can do it is by muting the string below. So when I play a G chord, I like to do it like this, where I'm not even using my index finger, but I'm muting the A string with the bottom of my middle finger. Another way you could do that is if you were wanting to go back and forth between a G and a G sus, you could play this with your 3rd finger and then your pinky on the 3rd fret of the high E string. And then you're muting that A string with the bottom of your 3rd finger. All right, now let's go over a couple more open chords and then I'll show you a different way we can use this. When I play an A minor chord, again, I like to wrap my thumb around the top and mute the low E string with it. And I do the same thing when I'm playing a D chord. I mute that low E string with my thumb. If I wanted to play an F major 7, so that's kind of like an F major bar chord, but you just take this low note out, and then instead of barring these two, you just let that high E string ring out. But I would be muting the low E string with the tip of my 3rd finger.
Well, that's cool if you want to play Kumbaya by the campfire, but I just want to rock out, man.
Okay, let's try this with some power chords. Here's what it would sound like without muting and with muting. So let's start with a power chord on the low E string. You're gonna wanna keep all the strings below muted, and one good way to practice this is to just start by touching all the strings with your index finger, keep it perfectly straight, and make sure that they're all muted. And once you can do that, then just add in this first note, but make sure all the other strings are still muted. And then you can add the second note in there and make sure those strings are still muted. And then you could just play it like that, or if you want a little more of a beefy sound, you can add your pinky in here. If you were doing a power chord on the A string, you would do the exact same thing, but you'll also mute the low E string with the tip of your index finger. And you can do the same thing with bar chords. Like if you were playing a minor bar chord on the A string, you would keep that low E string muted with the tip of your index finger. All right, as a little bonus tip, there's a couple other ways you can use muting. You can use it for some cool rhythmic stuff like this. So for something like that, I'm actually using my whole hand to just mute all the strings, and then I'm bringing a couple notes in and out like this to give it a cool percussive sound. I also like to do something similar on acoustic, especially if I'm playing without a drummer. I could give you 1,000 more examples on different ways you can use muting, but I don't want this video to be an hour long. But hopefully this gives you an idea of some different ways you can use it when you're playing chords to clean up your sound, or even using it as a percussive element. I hope this video helped. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.